They are ready for next season, and this has Celtics fans pumped up as Joe Mazzulla had some great quotes today from the Locked On Celtics podcast that claims that he is ready to go alongside Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown having quotes already in the past weeks leading up. So, what does Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla have cooking up for this Celtics team, and will they be ready to defend their championship? We'll be discussing all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. You guys have been absolutely killing it, showing your love support on the channel, hitting that like button. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this team and stay in the algorithm, keep smashing that like button. But without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I was discussing in the introduction, I love Joe Mazzulla, and this is absolutely fantastic to hear that Joe Mazzulla had some great quotes on this show. So like I mentioned, you guys already follow here on Celtics Digest, you must most likely already know who John Corrales is, who works on the Locked On Celtics pod. He had a little bit of a teaser where he uploaded a 3-minute video talking about his in-depth interview with Joe Mazzulla, and I'll have another one obviously going into detail with him, breaking that down. We have some great quotes here from the article that he wrote and with his little interview. One of them saying that people are going to say the target is on our back, but I hope it's right on our forehead, in between our eyes. Saying, and I hope I can see the red dot. This is just absolutely crazy to hear from a head coach. Something that personally I've never heard from an NBA head coach, but I am absolutely loving this mentality out of a guy in Joe Mazzulla. Now, Joe Mazzulla last season was a guy who came in with, not really having that much of a foundation. Obviously, had a great team around him, but was kind of thrust into that head coaching job right before the start of the season. He did a fantastic job leading that team to the Eastern Conference Finals already. Now, this year, he had his full coaching staff ready to go, hired Charles Lee, got Sam Cassell as his two assistants, really honed in on, the type of mentality and physicality he wanted to bring to this Celtics culture and kind of envision of the culture he wanted to bring, and made sure that it was put through this Celtics team. And they showed it this year with delivering a championship with this Celtics team. And we're only going to see them continue to do that more and more throughout these next coming years. And Joe Mazzulla is coming ready to go in defending that. Now, we've already seen, from Jayson Tatum and from Jaylen Brown in previous videos we've talked about, Jaylen Brown saying that there's going to be a target on the back and just saying, come on. And with obviously Jayson Tatum saying it's exciting to obviously be able to run it back with having most of the team back, and they're even more motivated to win another one. So, like we said, the stars are ready to go. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they are motivated. They're willing to defend their championship. And now the head coach is going to do it as well. And it all starts from the top. We all know that, from the front office to the coaching staff, then to the players. They all need to buy into this championship winning mentality. And we really saw that this season, like I mentioned. Wick Grusbeck went to Brad Stevens, said there needed to be changes after making Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, but falling short of that championship year after year after year. The Celtics went out and did that. They went out and got Kristaps Porziņģis. They went out and got Jrue Holiday. Two massive additions to this already star-studded team with Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and with Derrick White, already emerging on this team. And then we saw guys like Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard really step up on this bench unit, Luke Cornett, and even guys like Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta show us some blossoming signs as well that we didn't necessarily know that we had already in this organization, which is absolutely fantastic with great acquisitions from Brad. Now, obviously, with Porziņģis being out for a little bit, it's going to be a little bit difficult for this team. This team's still going to have to, be able to maintain that physicality and still be able to play well. And I think they will be able to. They already showed in the regular season last year that they were one of the better teams without Porziņģis, and that even though they had him miss some majority of time, it's not like they had a losing record with him out like some other teams. Therefore, I think the Celtics will still be okay. We got to see some improvements. We got to see some growth through these training camps with some of these younger guys. And I truly believe that this team is just going to continue to get better and better. Like we said, from the top up, from the coaching staff, they already know what they have to game plan against next year. Joe Mazzulla, Sam Cassell is the new lead assistant head coach, are ready to go. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are only more motivated from Jaylen Brown being snubbed of making the Olympic team, and obviously with Jayson Tatum not really getting the respect he deserved and getting those playing minutes in with Team USA. Both of those guys are fueled by that to have a fantastic offseason and defend this championship. Obviously, Jrue and Derrick want to still maintain that best backcourt defense in the entire league, and everybody on this Celtics team wants to remain champions once again and push for that championship next year. Like I said, I love this mentality. Joe Mazzulla has been an absolutely fantastic head coach since he stepped foot in the door, and I've only praised him on this channel. If you've been fans of this channel for a long time, you guys know, dating back to the start of this season when we were talking about Joe Mazzulla, we were crying out to fans that were calling out to him, claiming that he was a bad coach, saying that he was delivering. He knew what he was bringing for the Celtics team, and he truly showed that with delivering them a championship this year. Now there's no more question marks on Joe Mazzulla's head, which I love to see. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section on Joe Mazzulla's remarks. But like I mentioned, we're going to kind of discuss, kind of get into, with hearing all these, backing ups and stuff, what I expect with this squad. Because truly, I really think that Joe Mazzulla, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, if they're all locked in, ready to go to defend and bring another championship to Boston, we know that the other guys are going to be bought in. Guys like Al Horford and Kristaps Porziņģis, Jrue Holiday, Derrick White, the other starters, they're going to want to continue to push for this championship. Guys like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, who just got a very nice contract extension this offseason, is going to want to prove that contract, prove that he's worth that contract, and show that he drew in areas that he wasn't the best in last season. He was already a fantastic defender at the rim. He's obviously a pretty solid shooter as well with catch and shoot, and I only continue to see that grow and him get more consistent in both of those areas this season, especially playing alongside Peyton Pritchard for another season. We all know, like we mentioned, with Kristaps Porziņģis being out and with Horford getting a little bit older, the front court is going to have a lot of players kind of mixing in some nights. We're going to see guys like Amos Queta, Xavier Tillman, Luke Cornett getting run here and there. Maybe even Jordan Walsh getting some minutes here and there in this rotation, kind of figuring out who is going to dominate, who is going to fill in those specific roles for this Celtics team, especially with losing O'Shea Brissett. They're going to need, even though he was at the bottom of that, depth chart, he was an energy guy off the bench. He was a guy that provided a very good offensive rebounding spark and could realistically defend from the 2 to the 5 and play some small ball 5. So truly, I think that if they want to have some guys kind of figure out those roles and kind of replace some of those players, especially with Porzingis and Horford being out, they're going to have some guys like Walsh, like Tillman, like Queta, like Cornett, all specialize in different aspects of the game. And I truly think that depending on the matchups with those guys respectively being out, we'll see different kind of lineups, which will allow for all 4 of those guys to seemingly grow. And for the Celtics to, when they get to playoff time, can kind of figure out who is their solid guys in their rotation and who are some of those flex guys that they can kind of use sporadically here or there. Similar how do they use O'Shea Brissett and Xavier Tillman in the playoffs this year. Ultimately, what I'm expecting with this team is to be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference once again. I know teams like Philly, I know teams like New York got better, and even Orlando is a sleeper team in my eyes in the Eastern Conference this season. But truly, like we said, with Porzingis out, this team didn't struggle last season. I truly think this year, if they're stay fully healthy, still the same, Porzingis missing a first couple months, they'll be okay, and then once he's back, they'll be a well-oiled machine. And I see them making the finals once again and repeating as NBA champions. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. How do you guys feel about this team? How do you guys feel about Joe Mazzulla's remarks? I think this was absolutely fantastic that we got to break this down and hear this come out of Joe Mazzulla, because he is absolutely crazy, and I love it that he is this motivated and locked in. But let me know what you guys think. Once again, I'm Bruce Velez. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics.